Hello, 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 and welcome back to This Is Me Attitude Podcast with me, your one and only host, Rachel Nelson, just a girl in her 20s, trying to figure this crazy life out and bring you along the way every single step of the way. And today is no different as I bring a bonus episode to you. Yes, that's right. I could not wait until next week to get this message out to you. So this week we have 2 episodes out, and that's why today is a bonus episode. And the reason we have the title we do, which is, Have You Thanked God for the Small Stuff? Let that sink in for a minute. Have you thanked God for the small stuff? The reason that I'm coming to you today to talk about this is the season of life I'm in. I have felt multiple times where I'm just working. I feel like I'm trying to do all the things that I feel God's calling me to do. I'm reading my Bible. I'm checking the boxes, and I'm not seeing the joy. I'm not seeing the happiness, any parts of it. And then I sit back and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm thankful for anymore, Lord, because I just feel like I'm working. And it just seems like nothing is going the way that I thought it would. And I could go on and on about that. And I truly believe that I'm not the only one that has thought this time or two or is in a similar season. And with that, I was reminded by a few friends that in each season, regardless of how hard it is, regardless of what's going on, there is always something to be thankful for. And I needed the reminder, and I thought that maybe you might need the reminder or someone you know might need the reminder. So that is where today's episode is coming from. Also, in thinking about this topic, another thing that came to mind, and I think one of the reasons why I struggle with not always seeing the quote-unquote smaller things to be grateful for in harder seasons or in just every season of life is I haven't hit big goals that I've had for personal or business or anything of that nature. And in not hitting those goals in the time frame that I wanted to hit them, I have noticed that I have become a little bit more negative on myself, and I have not been turning to God as much as probably should. And the reason that I'm open and honest about this is I know that I cannot be the only one that has gone through that. And I just want this to be a reminder that we as humans are not perfect and that we learn from our mistakes, we learn from experiences in life, we learn from it all. And now I'm going to go into a few examples of things that I have to be grateful for and explaining them a little bit more. And then I do have 3 things that you can take away from today's episode that I think will really help. So let's dive into those. I wanted to take a quick break from today's episode and tell you about my online business. For those of you that may not know, I'm a high-ticket affiliated marketing business owner that sells water ionizers. If you're looking for a healthier water, or if you're looking for an online business to supplement income, or maybe get rid of the job that you have now, or whatever the case may be, and want to be around faith-filled entrepreneurs, this is the place for you. If this interests you, if you want to learn more about it, DM me today on Instagram at RachelFunNelson, and let's have a conversation to see if this is a great fit for you. Okay, so to start things off, I want you to take time as you're listening to 4 examples of things that I am grateful for in my life to think about the things that you're grateful for or to write them down. If you're driving or doing something where you can't write things down, please be safe and just think about them. But if you can write them down, I really recommend doing that as well. So these are my examples of what I am grateful for in this season. And also the reason that I said quote unquote small things in the last little book blurb is a lot of times the small things that we think are just so small in life actually turn out to be really big things. And or we're in a season of answered prayers from previous seasons and we don't even realize it or acknowledge it. And one of the things I'm grateful for is that in itself, it's an answered prayer. And that is my marriage. There was a time in my life that I thought I would never find anybody and I was just going to be alone and it was going to be sad and on and on and on. And now I have a healthy marriage. I am very excited about it. I know that we're in a growing season together and it has been eventful. It's been hard at times. We are almost at 3 months of being married, and people are not joking when they say the first few months or year, however, is sometimes hard to learn things, to grow together, to do all the things. And that is one of the examples I have. The other example for gratitude for myself is my apartment, having food, and having a really, really great church home. And yes, some of these may sound small in worldview or in any view you want to look at it, but in all reality, these really aren't that small. The fact that you and I, because I'm assuming that whoever's listening to this podcast has a house to go to, and I'm assuming you have food in your refrigerator and cabinet, and that you are able to eat said food, and it's things like that that really keep us going and really remind us how stinking grateful we are in this world. So now let's dive into the 3 tips and tricks I have for you that you can take away from today's episode. Number 1, writing gratitude out each and every day. There's a reason I asked you to write out your gratitude while you were listening to mine. And just taking the moment to physically write it out on paper makes you stop, makes you see all the things that are happening that are happy or exciting or nice in your life, and it really changes your mindset and just your attitude in that moment. There is a lot of studies backing gratitude and how good it is, and that is regardless if you are a believer or not. There's a lot of studies of that. And number 2, praying to ask God to help me find joy and what to be thankful for. Now, this might sound a little weird because sometimes praying specifically for things is hard. I've noticed in my own journey that I just feel kind of odd sometimes when I pray for quote unquote smaller things, because I'm like, Lord, you have bigger things to worry about, of like people praying for cancer being healed and all sorts of other things. But he really does want us to come to him in prayer about everything, and taking that time to humble yourself to the Lord and asking him to truly point out what is joyful or what you can be thankful for in today is very helpful. And I can almost guarantee you he will find at least one thing in that day that you can be grateful for. Number 3 is for myself, asking my husband at the end of the day what he is thankful for. And if you are not married, don't have a significant other, I recommend asking a friend or texting a friend what they're grateful for at the end of each day. The reason I am recommending this is, 1, for myself, it lets me and my husband connect more and just talk about our days. And or for you with a trusted friend or significant other, it can have you guys connect more. And then 2, it also shows me other things that I can possibly be thankful for. Now, to wrap this episode up in a pretty bow, like it's Christmas time, because that's my favorite time of year, even though it is nowhere near close to it. And that's completely a side note. I want to remind you that I am human, that I have random thoughts sometimes, and sometimes you get to hear them. Sometimes what works for me will not work for you. And sometimes you can take one of my 3 points out of this episode or any other episode, but then you change the other 2. Fantastic. Whatever makes your relationship with God stronger, that is what I'm here for. That is why I share my relationship advice with him. That is why I share snippets about my relationship with him. That's why I share the takeaways that I do. All of it is to make your relationship with him stronger and your faith in him stronger. And internally, or on the opposite end of that, the more I share, the more my faith grows, and it is very, very exciting to see, and just exciting to see what these episodes do for not only myself and my faith, but for you and your faith. So again, I highly recommend taking what works for you and leaving what doesn't, and getting in the Word, pray, and keep moving forward with the Lord. And just like that, we're at the end of another amazing episode. Can you believe it? I know I can't. I first want to say thank you to you, the listener, for taking time out of your busy day, your busy schedule, to listen to what I have to say on each of these episodes. It truly means the world to me, and I'm so excited to see what you got out of today's episode. If you would like to share over on Instagram at This Is Me Attitude Podcast, we would love to see what your takeaways were. We would love to see what stood out the most to you and what you are taking from the tips and tricks, if any of them. And like I say at the end of every single podcast episode, never, ever, ever forget, God loves you.